Oh, good boy. Here he is. Tiger. He comes visit me every couple hours. Yeah, we're gonna have a big meeting about the Mega Man project on Friday. Because I guess basically what we're doing now, uh, just to kind of give you an idea of what's going on with the project right now, is we made the prototype, and so the purpose of the prototype is to try out the concept. Be like, okay, our concept is Super Nintendo, Mega Man, Game Boy 5, right? And so now that we've proven that that works, it looks good, it's cool, it plays good, the translation from the Game Boy to the Super Nintendo seems like it works. It's like a proof of concept. And now at this point, we've got to say, okay, we did the prototype. What did we learn from the prototype? How long did it take us to make the prototype? What do we expect is going to get easier? What looks like it's going to be harder, and so on and so forth. So we're in a period where we're transitioning from the prototype now to like real development. I don't not real, but like the full on development. So the prototype in this case, and in a lot of cases in game dev, actually just gets thrown out. Like we just trash it. We just dump it. We can take bits and pieces of it. We're like, this is really good. We want to keep this bit, or this system worked out good. The programming is good on this. We're going to migrate that to a new project file. Um, but most of it just gets tossed. And so essentially, I'll be reprogramming Mega Man's behavior in the new project based on what we learned in the old one. So, and you can clean things up that way. So you're like, oh, okay, there was this bit of unused code and it's a little messy, and we kind of hurried at the end, so maybe it's not documented well or whatever. And we have the opportunity when we go from the prototype to the new project file to kind of fix that up and then get a good foundation for the rest of the game without all the overhanging stuff. So that's pretty much where we're at now. And Friday, we're going to have our meeting of basically presenting that here, me as a director, this is what I saw, this is how things panned out in my view, and here's what I think we did good and bad and what we have to work on, and kind of use that. And now we're going to plan the rest of the game based on that. Say, oh, it took a month to make a stage, so assuming that if we don't get any extra help, is it going to take a month to do every stage, and now how many stages are there, and how many months there's going to be, and stuff like that. Um, that's kind of where we are. So the prototype's a good way to figure out all those things, like how long do you think it's going to take to actually make the full game, and then plan the rest of it through that, and then kind of we'll come up with this is our ultimate dream of all the things that we want to put in the game, and do based on the prototype's experience, do we think it's possible to do that? Are the things that maybe we have to cut for time, or things we might expect not to do? And it's a fan game, so we're a little, how to say, it's not that strict sometimes. I mean, you want to have a good plan because that can make the development easier and smoother. But, if we say, oh, well, it'll take us 18 months to make all the stages, but we could spend another month to add a couple of features, but we're not going to because we have a hard deadline. We have to do it we don't have a hard deadline. We could just say, I just feel like spending a couple extra weeks to add like a cheat mode or something like. So it's not that big a deal, but we don't want to work on the game forever too. So it's a good idea to have an estimate of, okay, if everything kind of goes the way it did with the prototype, how long will it take us to make the game? And I think for me personally, it's got to be under 2 years. I don't want to be doing this for like 5 years. Not the same game, right? So for me, I want to plan it and scale things so that we can complete it in under 2 years, which I think is very reasonable. Um, I mean, we've got. I would say we didn't fully complete the Mercury stage. We maybe got like 80% of it done, and there were some corners that we had to cut for time just to get the footage out for Mega Man 5 Week, which was celebrating the original game on Twitter. That was the goal that I set to get that ready for that. So if we spent another week on it, we could have definitely cleaned up all those aspects. But so we say, I don't know, it was about a month's worth of hardcore work to get one stage out. You know, say all the stages are not the same. Some are a little longer, some are a little shorter. So we'll say an average of like a month and a week. Now multiply that by, I don't know, 8 stages plus the Wily stages. We want to add one in there. So we'll split that up into 3 or 4 because of the space stage, right? And then you could say, well, we'll make a little mini stage for an intro and for Dark Moon, say they're half stages. So what, that's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 months, roughly, for 13 stages. And then cutscenes, you know, might be another month, and polishing might be another 1 or 2 months. So 13, 14, 15, 16, 16 months? 16 to 18 months, something like that. You know, it could be as simple as that. Usually it doesn't go that smooth. You've got to add that out in your estimate. But, I mean, that's basically what we would be doing at that point to say, oh, okay. So, you know, don't take the 18 months and be like, oh, it's definitely going to be out in 18 months. We don't know. Because the other thing is it's all volunteer stuff. If tomorrow we lose our art people because, you know, they're too busy to do it, well, now that's going to push the deadline way back. Is we got to find people to replace them or wait for them to come back or stuff. So it's no telling how exactly long it's going to be. You know, if we had like salaried employees and, you know, everybody was working on it full time and we knew we could what the estimate of hours put in and stuff, that would be different. Then we could really give a more solid estimate date, but it's just not possible with like a volunteer project. So that's basically where we are at this point. I basically took that week off after. I worked a lot of extra hours to get that thing ready, the footage. So I needed a little time off, and then so now we're getting back into it. Now it's my job as the director and the planner to basically plan the rest of the game and say, here's what I'd like to do. You know, do you feel up to doing this? You know, like I would say, okay, in a perfect world, this is all the music tracks that we want, you know, and then I'd go to Maxie and say, do you think it's doable? Do you want to do this amount? Or do you want to cut this or cut that or whatever, and then, you know, go from there. And, so that's basically where we are and how we're going to proceed from here. So you might not see too many clips, you know, coming up too fast because we've got to kind of redo some stuff to get that clean prototype, all the good parts of the prototype into a new project and continue there. And we've got more things to research. The tile map editor for Unreal is garbage, the one that comes with it. So there's some options, there's third-party options. And we got to look into that, and then I've got to figure out how to integrate that. So I think it'll be a good 2 months of migrating all the stuff, including, you know, figuring out, okay, we're going to use this level utility and integrate that into the workflow and stuff. But I'd probably estimate about 2 months for that, and then development can really kick off at that point, and then things will probably be going a lot faster. Because we were still kind of learning how to do stuff during the prototype period, and I think some of that stuff's going to be a lot more simple and a lot quicker as we go on to the full-on dev. And then some of it's going to be a little harder because we decided that, you know, just simply upscaling the level graphics is not going to cut it for a remake of this caliber. So we're going to have more background work to deal with, but Other things are going to get easier, so maybe it'll balance out. And that's what I mean. It's hard to predict, but that's where we're going. So, um, and I'm going to be streaming every Wednesday, doing something related to it, either a study playthrough or showing the programming or anything, animating something maybe. So we're going to have consistent stuff, to do on stream for a long, long time. So don't worry about that. So it's a transition period, but there's still going to be stuff, new stuff to see. So I'm excited, and hopefully everyone else is, and we'll keep going that way. You're really just going to sit here, aren't you? He's going to sleep on me.